Andy, we've hit the stage. It's the stage where I have to, when I do my morning walks
Oh,
and dog walk and stuff, I have to wear the hat and gloves. So it's a pretty, I was actually giddily anticipating this day when I looked at the weather. I always look ahead, of course, on the weather and just see what's going to be like. When I saw those 40 numbers, I was
yeah,
like, that's it. That's going to be the weather. That's going to be the day. So,
it's here.
uh,
I think it was 45 when I woke up here this morning, which is,
yeah.
that's nippy. But you know what I like about it, Dave? I start my first few hours of the morning working by the fire, which I love. My youngest pup, she's just skin and bones, and so she loves to be outside. So she'll go outside first thing in the morning and run around, and she comes back shivering in the 40s, and then she's like curls up next to the fire, like she's practically inside the fire. She would be a s'mores if she could be. She's so cold, and I love it. That's one of the nice things about fall, just sitting there with that fire on and dogs by my feet, getting some work done in the early hours when it's quiet. I
You,
appreciate it.
you,
I appreciate
you do the gas powered fire, or do you
it.
have
It
like
is.
old school?
No, no, I flipped that switch and I got fire, baby.
Yeah, yeah, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it is. It is. It's nice. It's nice. It's tough to get up and away from it. You said that you get pretty cozy. You're sitting
It
there
does.
working. It's
It
tough to
can
peel
get
away.
it can definitely get cozy and everything. So, good times there. So, and you're going to go from the cold to the warm pretty soon here this
And
next
Dave, I'll
week. So,
be. My goal is to be mostly shirtless for the next week of my life. No shoes, no shirt. Life is good. So, yeah,
there you
looking
go.
forward to that. Yeah, yeah. The
That'd be
fire is
fun.
nice, but the big fireball in the sky is even nicer. So,
All right, well, we won't tell Stalker where you're going because we don't want those accidental bump-ins ruining
yeah.
your vacation. We
With
know we
the
got
with the
to
men of a certain X fanatics, I know,
yeah,
I know.
those fanatics they get a little crazy out there. So so all good. Okay, Andy, let's jump into things on this Friday. I will be carrying on solo next week, so 3 episodes solo by Dave. This is going to be a little crazy.
It's a treat.
Um,
It's a treat. I look forward to listening to this when I get back. So yeah, it's
yeah,
going to be good. But Dave, it
when
is
you get
Friday. Okay,
back,
so we were saying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
when you get back, well, you're not going to listen the day of. I'm disappointed, Andy.
Uh, next comment. Next comment. All right,
What were you gonna?
where are we going on this fine Friday? I'm so Dave. As we were saying before the show started, it's been a long couple of weeks for both of us, and it's been a really long week on my end. It was travel, and for me, Dave, when I'm on the road, like all the things I normally do in the office still have to be done. So my week just gets longer. It doesn't like change that much. So this has been a long week. So I'm very happy on this Friday morning for it to be Friday morning. So where are you taking us? Where's the journey in X going today?
All right, let's start with hurricanes, Andy.
Yeah,
So, yeah, obviously we had the devastation in the Tampa, St. Petersburg,
yeah.
Bradenton area. A lot of bad stuff that happened there. My son was in Jacksonville. He didn't have a whole lot, even though it was a hurricane strength still in Jacksonville, but it quickly moved through the state. How'd your son do, Andy?
He did good. My son is in Orlando, and they experienced it mostly, overnight, and it was windy and it was wet, but they only lost some Wi-Fi. They lost power temporarily, but power was restored relatively quickly. And it should say, Dave, incredible job always by utility workers and responders
Oh yeah.
during these incidents. But things went well, so they're relatively back to normal. I think it's still a little bit wet and everything, but nothing catastrophic. Can I say one thing on that, Dave? I know a lot of people want to muscle up and like I'm going to be wild and have fun in the face of the hurricane. I think especially Floridians seem to like embrace not properly preparing at times. And like here's the thing though, like I get wanting to be tough and be outside and I'm not scared of the hurricane. But you put so many people at risk when you do that,
Yeah.
because if something happens to you, like all the people that have to respond to get your dumbass out of harm's way. And I'm not saying you have to evacuate every time there's, but like you really should just be mindful of that because there's always people that they think they're having fun, but they end up putting like those first responders and others really in danger. It's a kind of a selfish move.
Well, that's actually where I was going to go with one of my points, Andy. It's
Oh,
like I saw so much on the socials about freaking I'm staying, I'm locked
yeah,
in, I'm going to do
yeah,
this, I'm going to do it. Like, hey, you're fucking idiots. Like I'm just gonna tell you, like it sounds cool. I'm gonna ride out the hurricane, but think about all like what you just said, and like why would you just put yourself in harm's way like that for no reason? Like there's no reason why you couldn't pick up and go somewhere, evacuate, follow the instructions by people who actually know what they're doing, and not put anybody else at risk. I mean that it's just pure stupidity. And I see these things, and I'm like, what fucking idiots? Like, you're not cool. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't make you any. I mean, some people don't have the means to get out. I
Yeah,
get it, and
yeah,
that's really unfortunate. But if you do and you don't, I mean, look, I'm sorry, but I think first responders pretty much said it. Hey, look, at certain point, you're on your own,
yeah.
and you know, like we're not going to put ourselves in risk because you did. We'll get to you when we can get to you, but you're on your own, and I think that's the right play. So
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, you can advise and nudge and encourage people to make a decision for themselves, but I think that's absolutely right. I mean, responders, they're out there putting themselves in harm's way. And again, I want to commend the utility workers as well, because they often get overlooked, and they're
yeah,
so critical to this, right? Now, all those folks that come in from out of state to support these types of events, but yeah, I mean, like you have a right to put yourself at risk. Like I firmly believe that, but you can't expect others to have to come and clean up after your ass if something goes wrong, right? And so
yeah,
I'm
agreed.
okay with that. Like, hey, you've got till this time, and then you're on your own for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. Like that's reality, and that's okay. And I know some
Yeah.
people are like, well, nothing happened. It's like, well, okay, thank God, thank God it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, no, and like it emboldens them for the next time too, which is
Yeah,
even dumber,
yeah,
you know. So the other thing I wanted to talk about on the hurricane, Andy, is just like here we go, like the fuckheads are out on the misdis and malinformation, and instead of like how do we support the people in these affected areas, it became about the federal government's response to it, and frankly, I think the government's response has been fine.
yeah,
And I think the government response, even in North Carolina, has been good. Like, could there things be improved? Of course there could, but like, there's a lot of people who are trying to capitalize on people's misery right now. And look, I was glad to hear President Biden say, "Get a life." I know that's probably not that's a classic '80s term, like "get a life," but at the same time, like seriously, everyone. I mean, especially the former president. I mean, he knows better, but he knows better. That's why he's doing it. He thinks he can just say whatever the fuck he wants, and people are going to believe it. So, to President Trump out there, hey, fuck off, man. I mean, just cut the crap. Figure out how you're going to support those people instead of trying to use it for political points. So that's where I was like, gee whiz, what the fuck? Get out of here, man.
yeah. It is frustrating because it's dangerous, and you hate to see. I mean, you see this. You're seeing it right now with the former president and misinformation and politicizing hurricane and hurricane relief, which is wrong. There's a robust local, state, and federal response to disasters like this. It never goes perfectly because it's complex and difficult at many levels. But it's a. I mean, FEMA is everywhere in this country. There's a number of disasters where they're out there trying to serve the nation, and to like dismiss all the hard work by so many people that is doing really important work is frustrating. And you see it on the left. Unfortunately, we have tragic shootings. You see a lot of on the left like jump out to use that for the purpose of politicizing gun control and gun violence. Like, hey, just everybody like shut up. Like take a 72-hour speaking moratorium. You have to take a break. Don't speak. Just let people deal with the disaster, the aftermath, the chaos. Let the facts come together and just be supportive for a minute. Then pick up your politics, right? But we want to just jump on it and use them to lie and spread bad information or to politicize and push our agendas. It's like just let people deal with what they're dealing with.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. Fuck off, Trump. Okay. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, like I'm so tired of this stuff and so tired of trying to like if you're gonna vote for him, like God bless, like yeah, that's your vote, But I mean, seriously, fuck off, man. So, all right. So, anything else on the hurricane, Andy?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah.
He fucking pisses me off. So. Okay. But I'm sure Fox News is going to run with all that shit. So, good times. Andy, let's go to topic number two. I want to kind of do something fun here. This week, Drake May was announced as the starter for the New England Patriots. They're 1-4. The season was going to go nowhere. The question was just when is Drake May going to play? Um, I'm not sure this is the right week for him to play, but is there ever a right week for a
Yeah,
rookie quarterback? And
yeah,
it is what it is. And then it was announced yet earlier too that Spencer Rattler, the University of South Carolina quarterback who had the famous Netflix run a couple of years prior about his recruitment and such, he's going to be starting for the New Orleans Saints, who after a 2-0 start are now 2-3.
yeah.
Derek Carr is injured, so Rattler's going to get the start there. So what I want to do is run through the quarterbacks that were selected in the draft,
Okay.
and let's do a how do we feel about these quarterbacks? How's that sound?
Okay, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. There's some that I honestly probably haven't like really gotten a good look at, so there's some I'd be ignorant on. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some that aren't playing at all and they'll never play, but at the same time, let's go through this. Okay,
Okay, let's do it.
Caleb Williams, Andy,
Yeah.
where are you at? How do you feel after 5 games, Caleb Williams?
I think he's doing what you expect from a rookie quarterback. He's got moments that he's playing well. Mike had a good weekend. There's moments where he's, you know, not really doing a whole lot. He's learning the game, and I think he still has great talent and potential. I think Chicago should be happy with him, for right now. But the jury's still out. I mean, as it normally is at this point in a rookie's career.
Yeah, so for just I want to caution everybody, like just because they're the top draft pick doesn't mean they're going to come in and win you 14 games every
Yeah,
year, like the
yeah,
first year. Like go back and look at Peyton Manning's first year, Troy Aikman's first year. Those were Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they sucked. They were awful. But you're not going to be expect that. And I think we have unrealistic expectations. I think he's doing fine. I mean,
yeah,
let's evaluate him here at the end of the year into next year. All right, Jaden Daniels, Andy, I think is wowing everybody.
yeah.
Speaking of like, hey, don't have high expectations, and then Jaden Daniels comes in and takes his team to 4-1. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, like I'd say he's playing great football. You've raised the question a lot of people had, early on, like he's really lean. Can he take the NFL? He doesn't sort of have the physique you'd expect to be able to take those hits that a quarterback has to take at times. I don't think he cares. Like he's out there chucking the
Yeah.
ball. He's out there running and making great plays. He's looking like the number one quarterback in the draft class right now. Now again, things can change. It's early on, but for a Washington team that is not really like a great team. Like I mean, even with a good quarterback, there's still like, well, there's still a whole lot of missing pieces on that team. They're playing great football. They're looking really good. They're beating decent teams. I mean, again, it's not just Jaden Daniels, but it's a lot of Jaden Daniels. The kid's got a cannon and he can run. That's a pretty nice combo.
If you can't get him the ball or you can't run the offense, then all those weapons don't mean anything. And he's doing a great job. I got to give him a lot of credit as much as I hate the Commanders, but
Yeah,
so we'll go with that. So I like you. Okay, so Drake May, we talked about it. He hasn't had anything. I mean, it's going to be tough for him, Andy. He's got a terrible offensive line,
yeah.
doesn't have any real running backs. Look, New England fans. You just hope that he gets through this year without any injury and maybe can reset for next year. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, a classic rebuilding situation in New England. New coach, new players. Last year was awful. I mean, that team is not in good shape. I know some people want to say they've got some talent here and there, but like they really don't, especially compared to that division. It's a tough division, so it's going to be a multi-year rebuild if they're going to get anywhere. I kind of feel bad for Jared Mayo. I think he's going to be a scapegoat at some point. I don't think they're going to get good enough fast enough. And I think he's going to get canned through no fault of his own. But I wish him luck. It's a tough division to rise up in right now, even with Miami and all of its woes.
Yeah, coaches who are charged with rebuilding often never see the fruits of their labor. But those coaches are so important. They can either make things worse or they can make them better. And Jared Mayo is probably not going to be, I would guess in 3 or 4 years, he's probably not going to be the head coach, but we'll see. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah,
Okay, next one up here, Andy. Well, actually, then the next two are not playing. Michael Penix Jr. with the success of Kirk Cousins, he's not he was not expected to play for 2 years. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's what they did when they signed Kirk Cousins. So
yeah.
no great out on him. And then JJ McCarthy, unfortunately got injured. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I firmly believe I think JJ McCarthy or Sam Darnold, you interchange those two. I think JJ, I think the Vikings could be 4-1 or 5-0 with JJ in that thing. They're playing really well right now. And Sam Darnold's playing well. So good on them. Next rookie quarterback, Andy, Bo Nix with Denver. 3-2, 0-2. Look, they've looked ugly. There's just something about Bo Nix that I like. I mean, he's poised, he doesn't get rattled. Look, he's not throwing for tons of yards or numbers, but I mean, they're 3-2. I mean, with Russell Wilson there, would they be 3-2? My guess is probably not. I don't know.
So I like Russ. Everybody's giving him a bad rap, but I still like Russ and think Pittsburgh kind of went sideways for him getting injured, and then you know, um, Justin Fields came in and did a pretty decent job, even though he's not a great quarterback. But with Bo Nix, I think he's got again sort of like Caleb, he's not on a great team. A lot of questions about the Broncos playing pretty good football, right? Not great, but showing potential that things could come together. So I think he's doing a good job. I think he was a good pickup. I think he could become like a really good quarterback in the NFL. But like Caleb, jury's still out, right? A lot of these guys, and Caleb Williams came with like really high expectations. And I got to give Chicago fans credit that overall they're not like, freaking out because he's not delivering incredible results right away. I think they're giving him some space as you need to. Both of those guys could be great, or they might not be, and that's just the reality of drafts. Like you really never know, right? That's why a guy like Tom Brady or Joe Montana can fall so far in the draft and be great, and that's why you've got whole draft classes of 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the first round that are all out of the NFL.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly hard job to be good at the pro level.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. So we'll see how that goes. The rest of the quarterbacks, Andy, we talked about Spencer Rattler already. Jordan Travis, he's not playing with the Jets. Joe Milton, the other rookie quarterback for the Patriots. There was some talk if you didn't want to kill uh, Derek May, put in Joe Milton, and he would at least be better than Kobe Brissett. I don't know about that, but Devin Leary with the Ravens, and then Michael Pratt with Green Bay. So again, none of those guys are playing, but I think it's I recounted earlier this year, I think on one of my solo episodes about all the first round quarterbacks and the success of those guys, and it's below 50%. Like
Yeah, yeah,
but this group here, I mean, has the potential. They look pretty good so far. I mean, I think it's maybe this starts turning the path, but it's so hard. Like it's not just the quarterback, even though all the weight is put on them. You have to have the organizational structure.
yeah.
I mean, look at your Detroit Lions, who are going to house my Cowboys this weekend. So
I'm looking forward to it, Dave. That's a good way to go into a week out of the office.
I'm actually happy that you're not going to be here next week because then I don't have to hear your shit. But I'm sure you'll send me something like, "Hey, dude, did you watch the
Yeah,
game?"
yeah, yeah. I'll still be here Sunday night, so don't worry.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Andy, let's go into our last segment here. We're going to do grab bag around the world type of thing. I'm just going to hit you with some stories and then you tell me one way or the other. I'm going to start with just baseball stuff. I want to go on a little rant. You don't need to comment on this. I know you're not watching baseball. You don't care. Uh, but real quickly, Andy, baseball has a starting pitcher and then they have relievers, right? The starting
Yeah,
pitcher usually goes 6 or 7 innings, but over the last several years, that has become less and less as analytics has dominated the sport, right? It's they get through the lineup 2 times and then start turning over to relievers who can come in and throw 100 miles an hour and blow people away. That's the theory. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays years ago, and they've been very successful as an organization. They don't pay their players. They don't have expensive contracts. They started a thing called the opener. which is in which they have a reliever start the game, pitch 1 to 2 innings, and then the starter comes in as a reliever and pitches 5 or 6 innings and then they close out with the other relievers. Now, this is designed for analytics again. Maybe you put your best reliever against the top of the lineup, get them through at one time, and then you bring your starter in. There's a whole theory behind it. But but that's been like that has devalued the starting pitcher. Like because of the rise of relievers and they use them in all these spots now, the starting pitcher really doesn't have much of an influence. Like growing up, it was like Nolan Ryan,
Yeah,
Randy Johnson, all these great, I mean, all the Greg Maddux and all these great starting pitchers that we used to throw complete games, and now they don't do that anymore. Well, the Detroit Tigers have been very successful this year. They're tied 2-2 in the divisional series with the and I didn't start the clock, Andy, but I don't really care. I'll just watch it as it goes along. But they're 2-2 versus the Cleveland Guardians. Since August, they've been amazing. They've been awesome.
yeah,
But they only have one real starting pitcher. It's Scoble, who's awesome. He's amazing, and he's going to pitch game 5 for them, and they have a good chance of winning. The problem is the rest of their team is like they have these reliever games, and they'll start with the reliever, maybe two relievers, maybe even go three or four, and they try to work through this. Andy, I struggle with this as a baseball traditionalist, but I also like, baseball to evolve. I love the pitch clock and all that other stuff. I struggle. Is this like cheating or is this like just, hey, you're a manager, you have to find ways to win games and you're winning games. When you see this type of like chain breaking the mold of
yeah,
tradition, how do you it could apply to any sport, Andy.
yeah,
I gave a long example of baseball.
yeah.
I struggle with it. How do you feel about trends like breaking tradition here?
Well, I always like breaking tradition. I think it's great, right? So I think, I think as long as you're staying in the rules, right? You're not breaking the rules, right? You're not, this isn't Inflategate, right? Right? You're staying within the rules. I think finding creative solutions and ways to use the talent that you have is awesome, right? So if you've got one legit starting pitcher, like find a way to make him successful, right? If you're a football team, you don't have a great, starting quarterback, find a way to make that team successful. You've got to work with what you have. And I think a good coach, a good manager finds ways to have success with the talent they have. Because at the end of the day, like, we talk about teams that suck and teams that are great. Like all those athletes are elite athletes, right? And to be at that level of play, like you're really good. And the difference between those teams and the talent gap, I mean, given there's exceptions, there's outliers, but for the majority of the teams in a pro league, like the talent gap isn't that different. Some stars being exceptional, but you've got leaders, coaches, managers, and players that know how to get the most out of those teams, and that's great. So I commend baseball and the managers that are making those moves, finding ways to have success with the talent they have. I love to see it. And tradition's great. I mean, it's wonderful to have traditions in all respects, right? From our holidays to what we're used to doing, for this, that, and the other. Like it's great, but there's constant evolution, right? And I love the fact that we're always trying and innovating and trying different things. And like tradition's great, but also like celebrate new ideas and celebrate things we haven't tried before. I think not getting stuck in this is the way we do it. Like it's comfortable, but that leads to stagnation, right? You got to keep finding new ways to do things or you die. I've always said, Dave, you either get better, you get worse, but nothing stays the same, this side of heaven. And it's one or the other, right? So if we're just getting comfortable with the way we've done business, other teams will evolve. They'll find ways to beat us. And so I think it's great that baseball's finding ways to evolve and find new ways to win.
Yeah, I think I'm on that line too. Like I think if you like when the Rays did it too, like they employed the shift, they did all these other things. Now baseball's come back and outlawed some of that stuff. They've put rules in place, but like, look, if you don't have a starting pitcher that's good enough, I mean, or if you don't have a quarterback that's good enough, like, how do you find ways to win? You still got to win games, and that's the ultimate goal is to win those games. So, all right, Andy, that was the topic number one. I appreciate you letting me talk about that one, flesh that one out a little bit. Andy, our favorite from going back to Wednesday, one of our favorite corporate icons, Elon Musk, is at it again, Andy. He unveiled yesterday the cybercab,
Yeah.
which is a vehicle without a steering wheel or accelerator or brake pedals. And it's designed to carry passengers without a driver present. It should be in production in 2026, Andy. He's trying to, I think it's natural with self-driving cars, the way that things have been going, that you would get to this point. 2026, though, is only really a year away, Andy. I mean, that's pretty ambitious scheduling. I don't think they're going to make it, obviously. But this makes me. Did you ever watch the show Westworld, Andy?
No, I tried it a little bit, but not really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird show, but they had these type of things where people would get in the car and just tell them where it's going, and then they would go. That of course, and the scary part is then you get locked in, and you're like, all of a sudden you can't get out or anything.
Yeah.
What do you think about the cybercab dominating like downtowns or whatnot? You think this is going to be a thing?
I mean, I think the idea of, autonomous vehicles isn't like so wild. I think there are benefits to it, right? I mean, I was in Maryland yesterday, Dave. Maryland drivers are terrible, right? Replacing all Maryland drivers with autonomous vehicles will probably be a net positive, right? I think drunk driving, sleepy driving, things like that. So like the idea of it is not a bad thing. Now I love to drive. I like having my hands on the wheel. I like to control my vehicle. I don't know that I want to give that up, right? So I think having the option is good. But it comes to this vehicle specifically. Look, Elon Musk should be like we should I think people want to judge him, because of his politics on sort of being creative, innovative, and driving technological progress. Like the guy's done a remarkable job of that. He's been an advocate for so many innovative ideas, and I give him credit for that. Even though the Cybercab, like the Cybertruck, to me it looks like garbage, but the ideas are great. Now with that, he's also 85% full of shit. And so like the promises of next year, I'm going to have a manned trip to Mars in 5 years. Like there's so much bullshit in his, but he's at the end of he's a salesman more than anything else. Just like Donald Trump, they're salesmen, right? They're selling us shit all the time. What's amazing is that we buy their bullshit all the time, right? Now, Musk has had results, and I don't like the business model. I've complained about it before. He's lived off government subsidies. I don't care for much about his business, but on the idea of creative solutions, yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah, okay. Well, this will be interesting to play out. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I do think that there will be some level of this. It's just like it's hard. I think in as much as you want to put those in developed countries, I mean, there's still going to be. It's not like cars are going to go away
Yeah,
overall because you have places in the world that still rely heavily on gas-powered cars and all this other type of stuff and. So it makes it sound like the future is going to happen tomorrow, but this is like in order to get to that world of the future, it's probably going to be 100 years, I would guess, and we're going to be long gone, Andy, and forgotten. So
yeah. I think these things do take time, and Dave, again, like driving is amazing. Like, so I don't think people are in a rush to give up driving. To be honest, I know, Gen Z is a slow to embrace driving generation, and there's some people don't like cars because of the climate issues and whatnot. But like driving is one of the like driving on a great American open road is like so awesome. And so
yeah.
like I don't think we're ready to give that up yet. Like I will drive over flying, I will drive over a train. I love it. I love it. So I don't think all of America is ready to give that up yet.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Andy, just as I say that, because the reason one thing is my daughter has been applying to schools, and she got into two schools this week.
Nice.
Um,
Congratulations to her and to the family.
yeah, Alabama and Kentucky. I'm not sure which one wins out there, but they're both like 7 hours away. Well, it's six and a
Yeah.
half to Alabama, seven to Kentucky.
Yeah.
My guess is I could probably make that six to Alabama and maybe 6:15 to Kentucky. My guess.
Yeah, I believe in you.
Yeah, and so like, but I would love that drive. I love like when we drove to Cleveland. I just love being out and listening to things and
Yeah.
going through it. So see. See, Andy, I carried that last segment there. We really had no topic planned,
Yeah,
and we went through it pretty well. So
you did, and I just sat here and chimed in with nonsense. So commendable effort.
yeah, no, all well done by you, Andy. That's I appreciate you being supportive. All right, Andy, this concludes this week of Pod. I think we did a pretty good job. Pat yourself on the back.
Hey, thanks. Hey, yeah, good job, us. Good job, us,
Yeah.
Dave. It's been a pleasure. I'm gonna miss the pod next week. I'm excited to see where you take things and what you do. And to our listeners, I will miss being connected for a week. But I'm looking forward to a week of not being here, to be honest with you. So good luck next week, and thanks for leading us through this Friday, as you lead us, Dave, every day. Thank you for that.
A- Andy, you should feel very proud. Like you need to take this week, enjoy it with your lovely wife. I know you guys have been through, I mean, 25 years, now it's 26. You're coming up on 26. So, I mean, that's a great accomplishment. So,
Yeah.
and you got a lot of great kids, and they're doing all well and wonderful things. You've done a good job, Andy. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. 26 years, just two kids, just to be clear on that point, just so my
Yeah,
wife doesn't
yeah.
think there's something else going on out there. Just two kids, Dave. Just two. But they are amazing. They are amazing. So yeah, looking forward to lifting a glass up with my wife and toasting a 26 and change. This is my 25th anniversary trip, 18 months later. So 26 and change at this point. But happy Friday to you. Good luck next week, and look forward to rejoining you soon.
Yeah, sounds great, Andy. With that, I will catch up with you in a week. I look forward to hearing your vacation and travel stories.
I'll have them.
Please pick me up. So, all right, Andy, catch up with you next time.